Hi, my name is Grant Edwards. I am in ECE 306, which is the Embedded Systems class. This is just my Project 10. Uh, Essentially, what I'm doing here is I'm starting at 0, which is the beginning of the course, and then between each number, I'm traveling roughly 20 feet or above in some cases. Uh, What's interesting about my project is it's had a little bit of issues because I haven't installed the DAC, and it definitely took me a couple of tries off camera to get it ready for the 7 and 8 position. You'll see that probably towards the end of the video. Uh, you may see a couple of like really odd turns, and that's just issues with connections on my car's part from the Wi-Fi. So I'm sort of off to the side, and I had one of my roommates help me film this thing. I believe the first zoom in on arriving at 1 was actually upside down, so you can kind of see it. It says arrived at 1 at the very top there, and you can see my IP address, and then at the bottom my timer. Uh, but yeah, more or less, just had a couple of issues with the app that I was using, and you can see me making my way over to number 2. So talking more specifically about the way that I made this project was I built out the command structure about a couple days ago, and I'm sending certain commands with different lengths of how long that I want the car to go. I set those at more of a static rate because I have a limited amount of buttons that I can use in the app that I chose. Oop, I kind of got stuck on my kitchen mat there. um, I was able to turn around. You can also ignore the the giant mound of recycling that's right next to the fridge because my apartment complex actually does not have recycling. Um, we actually have to take it every other week, um, manually and sort it at like a recycling center. So, pardon the mess. I also wanted to talk about at least the ECE program at NC State. It's definitely a lot more work than I expected, and Professor Carlson definitely made us work on all these projects very hard. This one seemingly was very easy from the get-go, because it was a combination of two of our previous projects, but there were a couple of changes that made it a little bit trickier, um, and I did have to change up quite a bit of code from my original black line algorithm, that pretty much it just changed the way that it functioned. Uh, at NC State, I definitely have benefited from the rigor of the classes. I think that it's rewarding to work on these kind of projects because while they're extremely difficult, I think that in general they're very beneficial for learning, um, as well as just experience for when you get out into the real world. I actually did a co-op last semester, and it definitely taught me a lot of skills and a lot of different ways to solve problems, even though it was completely in software and had no hardware components. Uh, it was definitely worth it, and definitely taught me a lot about perseverance on projects and finishing projects. Um, it definitely was worth it, and NC State really does offer all the perks and advantages of being in ECE and doing co-ops and doing internships. It's all very very nice. so I've arrived at 6, and since I was sort of running out of space and things and different places to go, I kind of zigzagged back and forth all the way through until 7, and it roughly equals a little over 20 feet um, when you measure it all out. Uh, and now I'm just trying to make some maneuvers. Since I didn't install the deck, I'm having some troubles with timings of my turns. I actually have to change out my batteries every time that I want to do a different run, because occasionally the battery power is not synchronous to what I've programmed. I will definitely be installing the DAC at least after this project, so I can have more of a uniform set of like wheel speeds. Alright, I think I did one more turn, and then it should turn all the way to 7. I think one of my bigger issues was definitely my caster wheel. My caster wheel had definitely a lot of issues, and my car was slightly tilted in an axis. So occasionally you'll see me going forward, but the car won't actually be going forward. It'll be slightly off kilter, and sort of all the way halfway through 7, I had to make an adjustment right before the midway point where we weren't allowed to make adjustments anymore. So you can see the adjustment, I think, right here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then from here, pretty much I'm just going straight all the way to number 8 with no issue. This part specifically was the most difficult to program, purely because my caster wheel would not let me turn correctly sometimes. It would be slightly off. You can see it kind of tilting to the right there, just as how my caster wheel works. Here you can see that we've arrived at 8, and then I pressed the auto button. It didn't press the first time, so I clicked it again. There we go, it says BL start. And then it does a turn, and then thank the Lord, it actually connected with the line. I've had it definitely go off into the distance and do nothing before. It's truly frustrating, but I was actually able to get it. So it starts the intercept, and then it immediately turns on BL travel, and it should follow the line, like that. There we go. It's a little bit slow because the battery is definitely slightly depleted from normal, which does affect how fast it traverses the line. You'll see it stop a little bit before the circle to indicate that it's ready to start the circle. You see BL circle, then it starts again, and then it should create 2 revolutions around this circle. I will be back in just a second after it makes 2 revolutions. That'll probably be quite a little bit. So I set my phone down in the middle, specifically to show that I wasn't actually interfering with the autonomous mode. Uh, I then picked it up from here and I decided to press the exit button after it's made relatively two circles or two rotations. Here I go, and I press exit now, and then my roommate wasn't nearly fast enough to catch it, but you can see it towards the end, but it says BL exit, and it paused, and now it's going to go 2 feet away from it, and then it stops, and then it'll say BL stop. There we go. That's the end.